we're going to be learning about the Northeast region. That's where we live. The Northeast is this green area right here that includes all of these states. Have you ever been to any states in the Northeast? Well, starting today, you're going to travel to some Northeast states to learn about this region. I'll be your tour guide, and we'll be traveling on my fishing boat. I bet you'll learn a lot about the Northeast as we travel around. Grab your ticket and let's get moving. Many years ago, the only people that lived in America were the Native Americans. Then people from England decided to move to America for a new start. They wanted freedom. They didn't like having to follow all of the king's rules in England. They wanted to be able to go to church where they wanted to read books of their choice. They set sail in a ship called the Mayflower. These pilgrims founded Plymouth, the first permanent European settlement in the Northeast, on December 21st, 1620. Our first stop on our trip is going to be Massachusetts, where we live. Welcome to Plymouth. The Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, located in the state of Massachusetts. Life was very hard for the Pilgrims when they first arrived at Plymouth Rock. Look, it's the Mayflower. This is a model of the ship that the Pilgrims sailed on. The Mayflower carried 102 passengers to America. The journey took 10 weeks. Life in Plymouth Rock. This is what a house may have looked like in Plymouth Colony. The houses had only one room, so the families lived, ate, and slept in this room. Life was hard for the colonists. Life in the colonies was very hard. Many of the Pilgrims became sick, and food was scarce. That means there wasn't much food. Luckily, some Native Americans helped the Pilgrims learn to fish and to hunt. Meet Squanto. One Native American who became friends with the Pilgrims was Squanto. He taught the Pilgrims many new things about their world. Thanksgiving. The Pilgrims invited the Native Americans to a big feast to thank them for their help. Today we call this big feast Thanksgiving. Plymouth today. That's where I live. Many tourists visit Plymouth Rock today to see the landing place of the Pilgrims. Remember I told you that rock was kind of a small rock? Nothing really special, but it's cool because that's where the Pilgrims landed. Plymouth Harbor is also a popular whale watching spot. I've been there before and I was able to see 2 whales when I was out whale watching. It was really cool. I wish we could stay and watch for whales in the harbor, but we've got more to see. The Northeast is full of important places to visit. In fact, before we leave Massachusetts, we have one more stop to make. Welcome to Boston. Boston is the capital city of Massachusetts. It is a very large city with many tall skyscrapers and beautiful harbors. A big problem in Boston happened on December 16th, 1773, where there was a big problem and people were not happy because they were going to have to pay a new tax on tea. They decided to protest this new tax by throwing all of the British tea into the Boston Harbor. It was a famous day in history known as the Boston Tea Party. While we're in Boston Harbor, there's someone I would like you to meet. He was one of the greatest sailors to ever live. Meet Old Stormalong. Alfred Bulltop Stormalong was about 5 fathoms tall when he was a young boy. He loved the ocean and he sat on the shore and watched it all day. He watched it for so long that his eyes turned ocean blue and the blood in his veins turned to ocean water. He was destined to be a great sailor of the ocean. You can listen to a story about Old Stormalong's amazing adventures on the sea in a little while. That Stormalong was sure an amazing sailor. Just think, defeating a kraken? Let's get moving. We're going to head to the most northern state to see people in the Northeast have some fun. So our second stop is Maine. Maine is right here. We are here, and we're traveling to Maine right here. This is one of the Northeast favorites. Just like most other northern states, Maine is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. This means it has many harbors, so whale watching and fishing are among favorite things to do. Fishing is not just a hobby, though. Fishing is a huge industry in the Northeast. Many people make a living as a fisherman. That means their job. So they go out during the day and they catch as many fish as they can, and then they sell it to different stores and restaurants. Sometimes they bring it home to eat themselves. Shipping is also a big industry since harbors are plentiful and deep. That means lots of people come here with their big boats, and it's fine because they have plenty of room to store their boat and to drive on in. Maine is the most northern state in the United States. This means it's farther away from the equator and has very cold winters. People in Maine have several unique winter festivals to celebrate their favorite season, winter. There are traditional races with snowmobiles and snowshoes, or unique contests where people race downhill in canoes. This is a canoe. There's also a mush course race where mom and dad, instead of dogs, pull their children in sleds. Winter fun facts. Did you know that earmuffs, these right here, were invented in Maine? That's right. And each December in the Chester Greenwood Day Parade, they celebrate this fact by having everyone from horses to police cars wear earmuffs. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry from all this fun. Do you like pancakes? If so, I bet you'll enjoy this next date. Stop number 3. Vermont. Forest of the Northeast. Many states in the Northeast, like Vermont, have many forests. The forests in these states have plants that can grow in cool climates. Some of these plants include maple trees. The forests are especially beautiful in the fall when the leaves change colors. Maple syrup. In late winter and early spring, the maple trees produce syrup. In fact, Vermont is the leading producer of maple syrup. Over 350,000 gallons of maple syrup is produced in Vermont each year. How do you like your syrup? That's enough syrup for a lot of pancakes. Don't like pancakes? People in Vermont also like to put warm maple syrup on top of ice cream. Another tradition is a sweet and sour maple syrup followed by a bite of pickle. Or you can enjoy donuts served with maple syrup. We're going to get to try all of these things. Wow, forget pancakes, ice cream, and syrup is my new favorite. Our next stop is the most famous city in the Northeast region. Can you guess where we're headed? Stop 4. New York. New York, New York. New York City is one of the most famous cities in the world. More than 9 million people live in the city of New York. That's more than any other city in America. More than 40 million tourists visit New York City each year. Just how do all of these people travel around the city to see all the states? Subways and taxis. Most people in New York travel around the city in subways or taxis. Subways are underground trains that carry lots of people. That's like RT. You can travel all around the city of New York and be underground the entire time. People use the subways because they are inexpensive. That means they don't cost too much. And because they don't have to deal with the traffic on the streets. These are what subway tokens look like in New York City. A person must purchase tokens to ride on the subway. They also have cards just like our T-Pass to get onto the trains. The Statue of Liberty is one of the most well-known statues in the world. It was a gift from France to the United States in 1886. It is a symbol of freedom and stands in the New York harbor. Without the base, the statue is as tall as a 15-story building. It used to be one of the tallest structures in New York, but today there are many buildings taller than it. I remember I went there when I was your age, when I was in 4th grade, and I went with my cousin and my aunt. I couldn't believe how big it was. People even can come up to the top right here and look out over the city. It's pretty cool. The Empire State Building. The Empire State Building was built in 1930 and is 1,472 feet tall. It only took 14 months to build. It is the second tallest building in America. If you climb to the top, you can see the entire city of New York. It was made famous in the movie King Kong. Some other famous spots are Times Square, which is a busy intersection in New York where there are lots of electronic billboards almost like TVs. This is where the ball drops every New Year's Eve. Central Park is a grassy space where people can go to relax and play. It's one of the few large grassy areas in this large, busy city. We could spend days in New York and still not see everything, but we have another exciting state to visit. Do you hear something? I wonder what that ringing could be. Stop 5. Pennsylvania. I used to live in this state when I was in 1st grade. Welcome to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is home to the Liberty Bell. This historic bell is a symbol of freedom for America. The Liberty Bell was made in England in 1752. It was made of copper and tin. Once it arrived in the U.S., the bell cracked. A new one was made from the same metal, but it cracked too. A third bell was made from the same metal, and that one has a crack too. The last time it rang was in 1846 for George Washington's birthday. Today, it hangs in Philadelphia for visitors to view. Hershey, Pennsylvania. Can you make a connection to this name? I have a special somebody in my life that's named Hershey. I got the name because I used to live near here, and Hershey's a chocolate lab, so he reminded me of Hershey chocolate. In Hershey, Pennsylvania, the entire town smells like chocolate, and this is the truth. That's because the factory that makes all of the Hershey chocolate candies is right in the middle of town. In fact, most people in the town work at the factory. Chocolate is everywhere in Hershey. In fact, many of their streets are named after chocolate, and their street lights are shaped like Hershey's Kisses. This is true. They even have a theme park there. It's sort of like Disneyland or Disney World, but they have some Hershey characters walking around, like Hershey Kisses, dressed up walking around, Hershey's bars walking around. It's pretty cool. And you can take pictures and get their autographs just like people do in Disney World. There's some rides, too. They were a little scary for me when I was in 1st grade. Before we move on to our next stop, we're going to work on an activity where you guys get to pretend that you work in one of the mills that works on making the Hershey chocolate bars. I think you're going to have fun doing this activity.